Okay, so what is Ethereum's price prediction for 2021? Where will it go next? Where will it find support? Where might it find resistance? Those are the things that we're definitely going to look at so that we can see if there's some great opportunities for us. There are some great news and some things that are coming out for Ethereum that can really impact its growth, and somebody even saying that it could even overtake Bitcoin. Do we believe that? Stick around and we'll share with you what we believe is going to go and whether it can take on Ethereum, a Bitcoin or not. We definitely want to know, is it going to find support? Because right now, from the looks of it, it looks like we're going down. So let's take a dive into what we see and how we are going to chart this out. As always, you know this is not financial advice. This is for entertainment purposes only. Please consult your own financial consultant to make sure that you make the smart decisions whenever you're investing. So here we go. The first thing we're going to look at is the nearest support and resistance. We've been bouncing around this range of 1,700 to 1,500. That was where it last been trying to find support. And it seems like it's hit it once, twice, and it looks like it wants to head that way because when it's tried to break to the upside, it has not been able to do so. And it has to be able to jump above that trend in order to be able to get into the higher level. The zone that we would want to get above is this one right in here, where we're looking at the prices of about 2,100 to 2,300. We want to get above that. As you can tell, that was the last rejection right in there. And so we're in this trading zone right now and saying, is that worth even trading? Now, unless you're doing some sort of leverage or margin trading, it's probably not a huge zone to be ready to jump in. However, it's looking very promising, and we're going to share where some of those potential entries and targets for us might be. But before we do that, we definitely want to look at where are some of the additional support and resistance zones that we have in here, because there's some really great news, obviously, right, that are coming out. But we have some resistances that we need to get over. We need to overcome. We need to break out of that trend that we were talking about. We need to break above this 2,300 range to get up into the 2,600 or so. Let me zoom a little bit more. And from that 2,600, 2,800, once we break that, then it'll be really nice. So we'll probably get to that area, bounce back, and then head up into what I call the soft area, a soft liquidity zone in here. We'll probably slow down a little bit there, but it's very likely that it could jump into this new higher levels where it has to get through all this last little part before it breaks to the upside. And before we finish this video, we're going to look at where would it go next to make sure that we can see where it would go once it's gone into uncharted territory, which is those super highs. So let's take a closer look at that. I wanted to zoom this video out a little bit more so that you can see that we're taking into account everything that has happened so far in Ethereum when it first got into the exchanges. And as you can tell, this was a nice jump compared to the last one. It was a huge growth, and it's stopping right at about halfway mark, which could be a really good sign if it does decide that it wants to find enough support there and there's enough people coming in, which there is some really great news around that. Then it could possibly take it into the highs that we had before and catapult. So where would it go next if it were to go that high, and how soon could that be? For that, we're going to pull out our handy dandy fib extensions and be able to see how far we are. And here, look at this, we're right at that 50 like we talked about. This is that 50%. If we can break above this zone and break above that pattern, we are looking at obviously the previous highs, and from there, what would be a potential next stop? It'd be all the way up into this area, into 6 to 7,000, and it's very reasonable to be able to reach that as a new high. And obviously, if it goes into a super cycle, we have to zoom in a lot more, so let me do that. So that super cycle, let's see, before we do that, let's put in this as a resistance, because it probably bump a little bit there, have a little turbulence, but then if it branches to break through that, it could have a nice ride along this whole jump, and it would put us somewhere in the category of between 13,000 and 15,000. Wow, that is huge, and it's not that unprecedented that it could do those levels. So what would be some potential entries if I was looking to get in, if I don't think that this is going to bounce all the way to the bottom, if it's going to do a huge jump like it did back over in these numbers way back over here? Let's see if we can predict some of those, and we'll give some entries and some exits potentially where we think it would go. So let's for a moment assume that it breaks up on the way up after it finds support, or on the way down. Let's see if it breaks down below that, where would it go? So let's take a look at each one of these. If it goes to the upside, let's say it finds support somewhere in the middle of that range, because it has found it before. It's around that 1,700 mark. and it manages to jump up and make the new test all-time highs, then we're looking at 156%, which is really, really nice returns, right? If we go to the downside because it could not hold support and we wanted to make sure that we're like, how far would we drop? The next support would be about 23% down. So you got to take that into account and make sure that you are, if you're going to take a risk, then you got to know what your risk is before you go for that reward. So now let's take a look at if it does one of those super cycles. So let me zoom out. Assuming that it wants to hit those newer highs, and when it runs into a little bit of turbulence, that's 287%. And if it manages to, obviously each one of these stages are really nice, but the one that we're shooting for would be up here into that new super cycle, and that would be approximately 733%. So that's 7x on a nice strong project. And with so many people hopping on and doing projects on Ethereum, this is one of those secrets that we told you that we've heard about and we've seen it play out. There's a lot more people going over to Ethereum, and that's why even Goldman Sachs is talking about potentially being the next store of value. Will it overtake Bitcoin? I don't think so, because Bitcoin is the overall still king and there's nothing that is done to dethrone it, but definitely Ethereum has been right alongside with it. So if you like this video, if you like what we shared and you want to stay updated with the latest updates that we do on this and many other projects, please go ahead and click that subscribe button and hit the notifications and let us know anything that you feel that should be added on here. Have an awesome day. Take care.